everybody, and welcome back to another Pokemon Challenge video. Last time, we went back to the Galar region for a little bit and tried to beat Pokemon Sword, playing as a Team Yellgrunt with Galarian Linoon, Pangoro, and Thievul. And of course, that video was a blast to make, as they always are. And I highly recommend checking that one out once you're done watching this video. This week, we're gonna be continuing our little mini-series we've been doing, going down the lines of generations, using unique and obscure Pokemon that came out of those generations. We only have 2 generations left. And of course, that means we are headed to Johto. Stonejourner, Dhelmise, Heliolisk, Cryogonal, Regigigas, and Huntail and Gorbis have all been explored. And today, we are headed to the Johto region, using a Pokemon that you all chose and voted for. And that Pokemon is the long-necked Pokemon, Girafarig. As always, be sure to leave your suggestions down below for Pokemon challenges you would like to see me do in the future. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more if you have not done so already. I upload a Pokemon challenge video just like this one every single weekend on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And sometimes, maybe other days too. And of course, leaving a nice comment down below just like this one also goes a really long way. Thank you so much, Bailey. It really means a lot to me because a lot of people just think that I'm really obnoxious and screaming all the time, when in reality I'm just a really loud person who's really passionate about what I do here. So I'm glad there's people like you that recognize it and appreciate it just as much as I do. With all that out of the way, let's jump into this challenge video and see if I can beat Pokemon Silver, only using a single Girafarig with no items in battle. Let's jump right in and find out. Girafarig is a normal and psychic giraffe Pokemon, and its name is a palindrome, which means it can be written backwards and still come out correct. There were no abilities back in Generation 2, and as for Girafarig's stats, they're not very great. This is what makes Girafarig pretty obscure. No significant trainer uses one, and it's overall fairly weak, meaning most people don't have fond memories of using a Girafarig. But it is still decently quick, and has pretty decent special attack and attack, which is always really useful in a solo run. As for the moves Girafarig gets, they're pretty good. It gets Stomp and Confusion immediately, which will devastate the early game, and has access to Agility, Crunch, and Return. No Psychic until Kanto, however. No move tutors in Gold and Silver, only in Crystal. And for those of you wondering why I chose Silver over Crystal, it's for a bit of a personal reason. Have you ever seen the Pokemon Silver sprites? They are usually the better ones. I grew up on Crystal, and most of Crystal's sprites are either unique or taken from Pokemon Gold. So Pokemon Silver sprites just look so cool and unique to me. Anyways, the rules for this challenge are the same as usual. No items in battle. Held items and Pokeballs are fair game though. The Girafarig I hatch is the only Pokemon I'm allowed to use in battle. HM users outside of battle are fine, but Girafarig is the only one allowed to fight. And this challenge begins the moment I can trade. I have a Girafarig egg I prepared on another file that I'll trade over and hatch to use Girafarig the entire game. Of course, Red will also be defeated, but that's a given. I can see someone not doing Steven and Emerald, but Red is a must in a Gen 2 run. Comment down below and let me know what you think our biggest roadblock will be. I'm not entirely sure myself. So let's just jump into this run and see if I can beat Pokemon Silver, only using a Girafarig, without any items in battle. We begin our adventure as a young boy named Jimmy, and pick a Cyndaquil for our starter Pokemon. If anything would be the most difficult for Girafarig, it would be the Totodile line and their Dark-type moves. After catching a Pidgey so we can trade, and to use Fly later on, I trade our Cyndaquil for the egg I made. Inside of this egg is our baby Girafarig, who I named Goodman. Comment down below if you get the reference. With Girafarig being a Pokemon who doesn't evolve, and with access to Confusion and Stomp so early on, we stomp these early routes and make our way to the first gym challenge versus the Flying-type gym and its leader, Faulkner. Confusion gets a critical hit, knocking his lead Pidgey out in a single shot, and his ace, Pidgeotto, comes out. It takes 3 uses of Confusion, but Gust hardly does anything to Goodman, finishing Faulkner off with ease. There's the Zephyr badge! 1 down, 15 to go. Before leaving Violet City, I head over to the Pokemon Center and pick up the egg from the Professor's aide. Comment down below and guess the closest town in relation to where you think this egg is going to hatch. I'll give a shout out to the first person who gets it right the next time we get an egg in a challenge video. Nice work, Bella Edwards. You were the first person to get it right in the Huntail and Gorbis video. With the bug gym coming up, one of Girafarig's weaknesses, I make sure to fight almost every trainer I come across. By the time we finish clearing out the Slowpoke well, Goodman's at level 16. I don't think this is gonna be enough, so I have our first rival battle while we have Girafarig with our rival Lalo. He leads with a Ghastly, who gets one shot by confusion, and the same thing happens to his Zubat as well, with his ace, Croconaw, coming out. Confusion confuses it, but it hits through and doesn't use Bite, but instead Water Gun. With it hurting itself in confusion the next turn, that's all she wrote for Lalo. After clearing the gym trainers, it is time for our second gym challenge versus the Bug-type gym and its leader, Bugsy. He leads with a Metapod who gets one shot by confusion and immediately sends his ace Scyther into battle. The signature move here is Fury Cutter, which builds power over time, and with it outspeeding us, it gets 3 Fury Cutter hits in, bringing us down to only 2 hit points. Luckily, Confusion was able to 3-shot Scyther, and even being on 5 hit points after leveling up, it didn't matter. His final Pokemon's a Kakuna, and gets dropped with 1 more Confusion. There's the Hive badge! 2 down, 14 more to go. Upon making our way to Goldenrod City, Goodman hits level 20 and learns Agility. This is an incredible move to have in a solo run. And we immediately put that move to use in our third gym challenge versus the normal type gym and its leader, Whitney. She leads with a Clefairy, and while we outspeed it, I don't think we'll outspeed her ace. So I use Agility here. It only does 6 damage to us with Double Slap, and then Stomp takes it below half health. It then pulls a weak reversal with Metronome as it goes down the next turn. With the speed advantage over Miltank, we can use its Stomp flinching strategy against it, flinching Miltank, and only needing to take 2 hits from rollout. There's the plain badge. 3 down, 13 more to go. With Whitney taken care of, we make our way north, and after scaring away the Sudowoodo, we enter the Burned Tower and have our next rival battle. This run has been pretty easy so far, but I expect that to change as Girafarig begins to become underpowered. We actually have been one-shotting almost everything, but actually have our first loss to Lalo here because of poor confusion luck. The second time around, however, I opt for Stomp, doing over half, and make it through the fight with ease. By clearing the Kimono Girls out, and then the gym trainers, Goodman's at a really solid level for the next gym challenge, the Ghost-type gym, and its leader, Morty. All of Morty's Pokemon are weak to Psychic, and we are immune to Ghost, so we one-shot his lead Ghastly, both of his Haunter, and 2 more confusion uses for his Gengar. We sweep Morty with ease. There's the Fog badge. 4 down, 12 more to go. Upon reaching Olivine City, our egg hatches into a Togepi. Congrats to whoever got it right. If you said Olivine City, you were correct. We surf across the water and reach Cianwood City, home of our 5th gym challenge. It's the fighting type gym and its leader, Chuck. Hey, brother! Confusion barely fails to knock out his lead Primeape, and it uses Leer, dropping our defense for his ace Poliwrath. Confusion also doesn't knock Poliwrath out, but does over half as we get struck by a dynamic punch. Goodman survives, hits through Confusion, and finishes Chuck off. It's all good, man. There's the Storm badge. 5 down, 11 more to go. After we make our way back to Olivine and explore the lighthouse, we find out the worst Pokemon of all time needs medicine. Like, can we not? Unfortunately, we have to help it. So we get the medicine, prompting Jasmine to go back to her gym. Time for the Olivine Gym versus the Steel-type gym and its leader, Jasmine. She leads with a Magnemite, and Strength surprisingly takes it out in 2 hits, and same with her second Magnemite. But it paralyzes us with Thunder Wave, making Goodman an easy knockout for her Steelix. I decide to give Goodman this game's equivalent to a Cherry Berry and teach him the move Mud Slap. This does only slightly more than Strength, but also lowers the foe's accuracy. This could allow us to squeak by his Magnemite without getting paralyzed, and maybe even defeat his Steelix. After a few tries, I realize I'd be way better off just coming back later and taking on Price first. So we make our way to Mahogany Town and north to the Lake of Rage, knocking out the red Gyarados. On our way back to Mahogany Town, I run into a wild Girafarig on Route 43, a route of We then team up with Lance and take down Team Rocket's hideout and enter the Mahogany Town gym, facing the Ice-type gym and its leader, Price. Strength takes his lead Seal out in a single shot, and 2 more of them take out his Dugong, only leaving his ace, Piloswine, left. It also is going to take 2 shots and smashes Goodman with a Blizzard, getting a critical hit. Luckily, Goodman takes it and finishes it off the next turn, getting a critical hit of his own. There's the Glacier badge! 6 down, 10 more to go. And upon returning to the Olivine Gym, the few levels we gained was the power we needed, finishing Jasmine Steelix off and obtaining the Mineral badge. 7 badges down, only 1 more to go here in the Johto region. But before we can get it, we need to stop Team Rocket once and for all in Goldenrod City. We defeat the first Rocket executive to get access to the basement, and upon entering, we come face to face with our rival Aloe once again. His team has gotten pretty good, but with Goodman being at a much higher level by this point, Psybeam wipes the floor with his Golbat and Haunter, Strength crushes his Sneasel, Mud Slap for Magnemite, and 2 more Psybeam hits is all it took for his Feraligatr. We rescue the Director and stomp the final executive, getting the Silver Wing and opening the Ice Path to Blackthorn City. Here we find our 8th and final Johto gym, the Dragon Gym, and its leader Claire. She has 3 Dragonair and a Kingdra, and neither Psybeam nor Strength is able to one-shot any of them. And we eventually go down to her Kingdra after getting damaged and paralyzed on the way. I then remember on Sunday I can obtain the TM for Return, which is without a doubt at max power by now. And Stab, I teach this to Goodman, and with the power of love by our side, Goodman sweeps Claire, knocking all of her Pokemon out in a single shot. Even though we beat her, we have to go to the Dragon's Den to get our badge, and while it was delayed slightly, we got our Rising badge. That is all 8 badges of the Johto region in our possession. All that stands between us and the Kanto region is the Pokemon League. But before we can enter, we have another rival battle with Lalo. He has a full team of 6 now, but with how the level curve is in Generation 2, we're at a drastically higher level. Return one-shots his lead Sneasel, Psybeam takes out Golbat, 2 hits from Return takes out Magneton, while it paralyzes us. 1 return for Kadabra, 2 hits from Return for his ace Feraligatr, and 1 final Psybeam for Haunter. With that, we're ready for the Pokemon League. Or at least, I think we can do it at this level. First, I grab the TM for Earthquake and Victory Road. I might need it in the league. Here's what Goodman's looking like going in. Level 52 with Return, Psybeam, Mud Slap, and Agility. Let's give it a shot. First up is the Psychic member of the Elite Four. It's Will. Return one-shot Xatu and Jinx, and his Exeggutor comes out. It lives on red and sets up a Reflect, making taking out his Slowbro and Ace Xatu take a little longer, but Return eventually does the job. I decide at this point Mud Slap isn't really useful anymore, so I get rid of it for the much stronger Earthquake we picked up. This was for the Poison member of the Elite Four, being Koga. Psybeam drops his lead Ariados, and his Fortress comes out. It's resistant to Return and Psybeam, so I thought Earthquake would be useful here. While it's not super effective, it still does a ton of damage and manages to get rid of Fortress combined with a Psybeam. And then Goodman takes out his Crobat, Venomoth, and Muk with no issues at all. He is a Psychic type after all, and that Psychic typing works the same on Fighting types, with the Fighting member of the Elite Four, Bruno, being next. Psybeam ends Hitmontop and Onix, but Machamp survives in red. He becomes confused and then knocks himself out, and Psybeam finishes off the pair of Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee in one shot as well. Time for the Dark-type member, it's Karen! She leads with the tanky Umbreon, who goes down to 2 returns, missing a Sand attack in the process. This allows for Goodman to safely one-shot her Murkrow, Houndoom, Gengar, and Vileplume without any fear of missing. It is time for the champion of Pokemon Silver. It's Champion Lance, the Dragon Master. We went into the league with Goodman at level 52, and now he's level 56. At this level, we're not able to one-shot any of his Pokemon, and his Dragonite always paralyzes us, causing us to lose the fight every single time. I tried for a good hour, but decided my time would be better spent rematching the Elite Four until Goodman was at the right level to be in better shape for Lance. And upon leaving the Pokemon League, I went and picked up another Cherry Berry. That way I could avoid being paralyzed at least one time. It takes 2 more runs through the Elite Four, but now at level 63, Goodman is able to one-shot his lead Gyarados, and one-shot his first Dragonite with a critical hit. The second Dragonite comes out, but it survives Return and paralyzes us yet again. Good thing I picked up the Cherry Berry, as it cures Goodman's paralysis, allowing him to take Dragonite out. His Aerodactyl comes out, and Psybeam does over half, and Goodman takes a Hyper Beam really well, and Goodman one-shots his Charizard with Return, only leaving his ace, his third Dragonite left. This one's level 50, and just like his other Dragonite, this one too survives a Return. But we also survive its Hyper Beam, and with 1 more Return, we defeat Lance, and become the champions of the Pokemon League. Time to take on Kanto. And let's be real here. You all know how the Kanto region is in a Pokemon challenge. It's a joke. The levels are incredibly low, and to be real with you, I believe I knocked out every single Pokemon I fought in a single shot, except for Blue's Gyarados, Executor, and Arcanine. Yeah, what we're really here for is Red. While in Kanto, I picked up 2 really useful TMs for Goodman, Psychic, and Curse. It's time for Pokemon Trainer Red. He starts off with his level 81 Pikachu, but we quickly drop it with 1 return. He then sends out his Espeon, who puts up a Reflect. Luckily, I predicted this and went for Curse. I want to get to +3 attack, and then use Agility to get my speed back up to speed and at +1. We barely survived the onslaught of Psychic thrown our way, but just as we were getting ready to sweep, the Reflect wears off, and with only 15 hit points remaining, we one-shot Espeon, Snorlax, Charizard, Blastoise, and his final Pokemon, Venusaur. There you have it! We just beat Pokemon Silver, only ever using a Girafarig in battle. And we have won this game! Well, I think it would be an understatement to say this is nowhere near how I expected this run to go. I always think of Girafarig as this really generic, kinda weaker Pokemon, but this was officially the easiest challenge run on the channel thus far. I did this entire thing in one 7.5 hour session. I think it's safe to say I now hold the world record for the Girafarig solo run. I know Generation 2 is really easy, but I'm genuinely curious. Was this so easy because Goodman was really good man, or because Generation is really bad man? Either way, I had a ton of fun making this one, as I always do, and it was really refreshing to just have a really easy run with no hurdles for a change, especially after doing the Team Yell video that took well over half the time, even though I recorded this one before that one. You know what I mean. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like down below, and maybe even a comment telling me what you thought. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to leave a subscription. This is not what I meant to say, but you know what I mean, and ring that bell for more. If you do subscribe, just keep in mind I upload a Pokemon Challenge video just like this one every single weekend on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and maybe sometimes other days too, so be sure to look out for those in the future. Next week will officially be the finale of this little mini-series of going down the lines of generations, with Generation 1 in red, blue, and yellow. So I'm open to suggestions for future mini-series ideas you guys would like to see. This one was all about using unique and obscure Pokemon that aren't necessarily super weak or would be hard to use, but just would be fun runs and showcase Pokemon you normally wouldn't see. So I'm open to future ideas of what you guys would like to see for our next little series. Also, any of the comments down below, suggestions that you also like, don't forget to thumbs those up as well. I'll be looking for those, and the ones with the most thumbs up, I'll be like, a lot of you guys really want to see it. If you want to see that Team Yell run that I did earlier in the week on Pokemon Sword, you can find a link to that video over here. Or you can find a link to the playlist of all the Pokemon challenges I've already done on the channel over here, so you guys can pick one out for yourselves. With all of that covered, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll get to see you guys next time for another Pokemon Challenge video. Until then, hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching!